Man Utd fans can't accept Erik ten Hag's reason for star winger suddenly being dropped. Before continuing this video, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Amad Diallo's sudden lack of first-team chances is infuriating Manchester United fans who cannot understand Erik ten Hag's reason for dropping the youngster. After an impressive preseason, the Ivory Coast international started 4 of United's opening 5 Premier League matches, registering a goal and assist in that run. Things have changed, however, with the winger left out and remaining among the substitutes in United's last 3 league games. He was again on the bench on Thursday night for the Europa League showdown against Fenerbahce, even with Bruno Fernandes suspended with Noussair Mazraoui deployed in an unusual role in attack. To add more salt to the wounds, Amad was overlooked again in the second half when Antony was thrown on instead of him as United chased a winner. Antony's cameo was cut short, stretchered off in the 89th minute with Amad belatedly giving his chance. His wonderful first touch drew the foul that gave United a late opportunity to steal the winner, but the resulting free kick from Christian Eriksen was ultimately wasted. Explaining Amad's situation after the game, Ten Hag told reporters, "Away from Europe to start with 4 attackers is too much. I made him, Mazraoui, a fullback. He was always a number 10. I knew he could fill in with that role. He had a big role in the goal. You can always move him back. Antony is training very good. Amad had some good actions." Neither explanation did little to ease the frustration of some United supporters, however, with the decision to start Mazraoui ahead of him described as a slap in the face by one ex-user. At Ronald de Brown wrote, "Whether you think Amad Diallo is good enough, that's totally fine, but a right back starting over you in your position is a massive slap in the face." At Alice Talks Footy said, "Antony coming on over Amad again. The way Amad gets treated compared to other teammates is a joke. 0 minutes in last 3 games despite starting the season well. Ten Hag will constantly play the same underperformers, and the minute Amad has a quiet game he holds the bench for good. Gets treated differently to others and I do not like it." At Anne-Marie Dre added, "Doesn't really matter just how good you think Amad is, because putting on Antony on the pitch ahead of him is absolutely disrespectful." Jose Mourinho gives fascinating tactical breakdown of Manchester United strikers Zirkzee and Højlund. Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund are familiar to Jose Mourinho from his stint as Roma coach when he came up against them for Bologna and Atalanta. Which one started for Manchester United was the main tactical quandary Fenerbahce had to contend with. Mourinho was prepared for fullback Noussair Mazraoui's deployment as a number 10 after his international teammate Sofiane Amrabat alerted Mourinho to the Moroccan's versatility. But Zirkzee and Højlund operate in opposite ways. Højlund had scored 2 in 3 starts for United, had a gentle time away with Denmark for their Nations League fixtures, dinked in the winner against Brentford on Saturday, and had a 5-day gap between games. Yet Zirkzee was recalled for a first club start in nearly 4 weeks. The Dutchman now has 1 goal in 12 games for United, and that came on his debut more than 2 months ago. At his post-match press conference, Mourinho highlighted how differently Zirkzee and Højlund operate. United manager Erik ten Hag felt, "A hectic ambience to start with 4 attackers is too much." Was that a compliment? "Look, honestly, I know that in your mind they have 3 points, Mourinho said. They had 2, they have 3. But I think in this 8-match format, if they win 2 matches, they have 9 points and there are 5 matches to play. They will not win 2 matches out of the 5. They will win more. So they will qualify. So I think the point for them is a positive point. The same way in Porto a point is a positive point. Because we are a good team, it's difficult to play here. Porto is the same. And I think Ten Hag, tried. I think I know what he tried. My only doubt was Zirkzee or Højlund, the difference of these 2 players. I know both very well because both played in Italy on my time. I think what they tried with Zirkzee was to see if I was going to press Zirkzee when Zirkzee drops in between the lines. If I don't go, they have 1 extra player in there. If I go, they try and create space for Alejandro, Garnacho and Marcus Rashford to attack diagonals. So we had to choose. Then when he comes with Højlund, he tries to attack the spaces more. So I think strategically, he was good. And the situation with Mazraoui, maybe for you it was a big surprise. For us it was not because Amrabat told me Mazraoui can play in this position, He did a lot with Ten Hag in Ajax. Simone Inzaghi agrees to take over Manchester United role next season. Manchester United remain in the bottom half of the Premier League standings in spite of beating Brentford in their last match in the competition. Nevertheless, there remains a fair portion of the season ahead, and Erik ten Hag has a lot to prove if he has to sustain his role as the head coach of the first team next season. If such results continue, it would be far from a surprise to see the Dutchman get the sack, possibly even midway through the season. It has now emerged that Man United are already planning for life after Ten Hag, with Give Me Sport saying that Simone Inzaghi agrees to join the Red Devils effective next season after a few video conferences with the club's hierarchy. The Inter Milan boss, described as a genius by Thierry Henry, will be handed an almost unlimited budget in the transfer window, having agreed to a 3-year contract at Old Trafford, the report adds. Inzaghi remains intent on completing the season with Internazionale, so even if United fire Ten Hag midway through the campaign, they will need an interim option until the summer. Manchester United handed Erik ten Hag a contract until 2026 earlier this summer, and therefore, they will need to pay him the money due until the end of his deal in the event of his sacking. Therefore, it would not be a surprise to see the Red Devils give him time until the summer to prove that he is the right man for the job. While winning the Premier League may not be a realistic aim for the team, they are certainly good enough to contend for a top 4 or win the Europa League, which would hand them a route back into the Champions League. Moreover, capturing silverware in the domestic cups might also be a saving grace for the 54-year-old. It will be interesting to see if Manchester United have an upward surge in their form over the coming weeks. However, if that were not to be the case, Ruud van Nistelrooy is likely to be an interim appointment should Ten Hag be relieved of his duties, and Inzaghi would imminently arrive at Old Trafford before 2025-26. Fabio Capello explains why Joshua Zirkzee is struggling at Manchester United. Manchester United's 1-1 draw away at Fenerbahce on Thursday was not a bad result in itself, but it did little to get Erik ten Hag's side out of the slump in which they've found themselves since the beginning of the season. Joshua Zirkzee provided an assist to help Christian Eriksen open the scoring after just 15 minutes, but apart from that, the Dutchman had another difficult appearance for the Red Devils. Since his big money move, thought to have cost €40 million plus €15 million in commission, from Bologna, Zirkzee has been struggling to really fit and have a positive impact on Ten Hag's side. There's certainly been flashes of good stuff, especially in link-up play, but at times the 23-year-old appears to be playing the game at his own speed, and it's usually far slower than the tempo required. Fabio Capello has started a weekly column for Gazzetta dello Sport, and this week he's covered Italian football being played at too slow pace. The former England manager believes Serie A clubs have tried to copy aspects of Pep Guardiola's style, but they do so at a much slower pace, and therefore it doesn't have the desired impact.